Hi Titans, it's Julie Virjee, and I would love to have you all in the kitchen with me right now. We know that's not possible, but I thought I would share with you a family recipe that we all love. It's called almond shortbread, and it's very simple to make, so nothing complicated here. Basic ingredients: flour, some slivered almonds, a little bit of salt, the all-important butter. I always use unsalted butter. You can always add more salt as you cook anything, but first buy only unsalted butter. And then this is the important part. It's almond extract, and that's what's going to give you a really good almond essence in with the shortbread, and also sugar, so which I haven't gotten out of the cupboard yet. But first I'm just going to give you the idea of what you need. This is a cast iron skillet. It's not beautiful, but boy does it make great dinners, and especially great almond shortbread. So I start with my iron skillet, and the secret to it is you make your skillet non-stick by just putting a piece of foil in it like this, really getting into all the corners, or I guess they're not corners, but the edges of your pan, and folding up the sides as you go. So really easy, very simple. And in a minute I'll spray it with a little bit of like Pam or one of those spray shortening type in a can. So we've gotten out the sugar already, and we also need 2 eggs. I'll give you the whole recipe when we're in the oven baking. But the first thing is, put the eggs down. First thing is with the butter, and this is what makes it so good, is we have 1.5 cups. That's not right. 1.5 cups of butter, which I'm now going to put in to here, melt it in the microwave, and then I'll mix it in with the sugar. I tend to be pretty methodical about baking. Baking is something where you measure, something where you pay attention to if the flour is even in the measuring cup, and the sugar as well. This doesn't call for any leavening, any baking powder or anything like that, but when you bake with those, you've got to be super careful. I know people who've accidentally put in baking powder instead of baking soda, and things don't happen when you make a boo-boo like that. Also be very careful in measuring your salt. Salt is one of those activated things in baking, and that too will cause you problems if you're not measuring carefully. So I'm just going to stick this in the microwave for a minute or two, and hope I don't make a mess of the microwave, and then we'll blend it in with all the sugar. Okay guys, so first of all, I wanted to make sure that we do this. This is a high priority thing, which is give your foil and the edges a light spray with whatever you use, pan coating spray. Also, make sure that you've preheated your oven to 350 degrees, because you want it nice and hot by the time you're finished with your batter thanks Prez. By the time you've got everything ready, you want to plop it in the oven. So first things first, we're going to mix our sugar with the butter. I love my KitchenAid mixer, and you certainly don't need one. It helps, but it's not an essential, that's for sure. Sorry, I need my handy dandy spatula. I live and breathe by rubber spatulas. I think they're amazing. My family would tell me that we have too many, but we don't. Next, we're going to put in the sugar. It's just regular old C&H sugar, and for this we need 1.5 cups. So I'm trying to be ready for everything I'm going to make. Believe it or not, I keep measuring cups in my flour, well maybe, and my sugar. So I've done half a cup. Kind of level it off. Another half a cup. And one more, making it a cup and a half of sugar. You do need a couple tablespoons more of sugar for the very end, but not a big deal. So I'm just finishing adding the butter, melted butter, to the sugar and giving it a good blend and letting both of those things, all I have in here now is the butter and the sugar. So it becomes, I'll show you in a second, a really nice, like beautiful lemony yellow color, even though there's no lemon in it, just butter and white sugar. And while that's really getting incorporated and mixed in well, I'm going to measure out the flour, just regular white flour, and the salt, etc. Now, most of the time, if a recipe calls for something to be sifted, I kind of do what my mom did, which is not actually sift in a sifter, but I kind of do it my own way. If you love sifting and you have a sifter, go ahead, get it out and sift away. So I kind of just level off my flour. So this calls for only a cup and a half of flour. That's my one, and this is my half. Same thing, just kind of level it off like so. And I'm putting it in a separate bowl. So I have my wet ingredients in there and my dry ingredients in here. Now I'm going to add my salt, and it's only a half a teaspoon. Super easy. I keep my salt right next to the stove, so I can add a pinch here and there. So now my salt is in there. And again, the idea of sifting is just to get air into the flour. And I kind of did that when I shake it out and then stir it up loosely. So now the flour and the salt are going to go into the batter. I'm just going to use kind of a big tablespoon type thing to get it in there. And I don't plunk it all in at one time because I might make a mess. So now it's just kind of getting the flour's getting incorporated, tablespoon, big tablespoon by big tablespoon. So I'll tell you that my family loves this dessert. Friends love this dessert. I've always asked to make this dessert wherever we go. If you're doing it for dinner and dessert, it's great with ice cream, which I also love to make ice cream, or just separate. This is a great thing to have just with coffee in the morning, or a snack anytime. So now we're going to add. The recipe calls for 2 eggs. I add them one at a time. So I put each one in a bowl. Again, I get the mixer going, and I add the 1 egg. Just let it get really incorporated. A mixer is really not necessary. It's just easy, right? So I kind of make sure there's no shells, because that's never tastes so good. And now my batter is getting even more beautiful and yellow. I'm now going to add the almond extract. And it calls for a teaspoon. And this the stuff is strong. So you really, anytime you use an extract, you really want to kind of adhere to what the recipe says. So now the kitchen smells awesome. It smells just like a beautiful almond shortbread cookie, which is kind of what we're making right now. So that's really it. And turn it off and show you what we're going to do next. So my pan is ready, right? The foil is in the skillet and I've sprayed the foil. So now I'm just going to lift everything up, make sure I get all the batter, because it's way too good to waste. You do not want to waste this beautiful gem of of batter. And so I'm going to give it one more little swirl around and get everything from the sides. So one more time, you can see how beautiful it is, and I'm literally just going to spoon it, spatula it, scrape it into this prepared dish. It's going to bake at 350 and about 35 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. You can tell when it's done, it's going to get brown around the edges. Again, I don't want to waste any of that goodness. So I kind of spread it out in the pan. And my hands are clean. Been washing them 42 times a day, I promise. So these are slivered almonds. I usually like to use sliced almonds. I think they're prettier. So I just kind of sprinkle them evenly over the surface. Don't forget the edges. The edges are just as yummy as the middle. So this is kind of a good dessert, unless somebody's allergic to nuts. So don't forget, you have to ask that before folks come to your house for dinner or a snack or something. And then remember I told you that at the end, you just give it a little bit of sugar, sprinkle just a little, and that just adds a nice finish to it. It's kind of chewy, gets a little crunchy on the edges, and kind of finishes it off. And that's it. It's done. It's going to go in the oven right now. This is the weightlifting part of your day because it's not light at all. The oven's preheated, remember? And so we'll see it in 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Hi Titans. So I'm back and it's been about 40 minutes actually. I set my timer for 35, but I kept it in so the top could get a little bit extra brown. Remember, this is a super heavy pan, so you probably want 2 hot pads. Don't go with 1. And so now you can see that the edges are nice and brown and it's pretty flat. We're gonna let it cool in here for say 10-15 minutes, and then super easy, and then no cleanup on the pan. This just lifts out like that. So we'll do that in a little bit and have some for dessert tonight. Okay, so now it's time to plate this, and there's kind of 2 ways you can do it. I'm hoping for the best right now. I can just lift this out of here, and then sometimes I do it like this. It's still pretty warm actually, but I can do it like that. Hang on a sec. Just grab a big pancake turner, and there we go. So it's plated, and what I really like to do then is it's pretty rich because it's buttery. So when it's a little bit cooler, I'll take it and I'll cut slivers, and I'll show you that in a little bit when it's cooler. But it's too hot right now to actually cut because it might fall apart. But we're almost there. It's getting exciting. Hi again. Okay, so it's cooled. It's on the platter. Looking pretty delicious, and it smells amazing. I wish y'all could smell it right now. I take a big kitchen knife and just kind of go down, and I cut all the way across and then through the crust. The crust is maybe the best part, but that way you can get kind of nice even slices. Again, you don't need a really big piece. You can always come back for more, but this is about the size that I serve. And oops, I didn't get all that side. So you can kind of see that it is a little cakey in the middle, and it actually tastes like marzipan. There's no marzipan in it or crushed almonds, but only the almonds on top, but that's essentially what you got, and it's absolutely delicious. As I said, it's great for a snack anytime, or somebody comes over, or just an easy dinner. Make yourself a cup of tea or something stronger and enjoy it. Just wanted to tell you all how much we miss you, and how we can't wait to get back together again. We love our Titan family so much, and I hope this little bit of almond shortbread makes you feel like we're all back together again. Take care, everybody. Well, how is it?
Good.
What are you thinking about these days?
Coffee's cold.
What are you thinking about these days?
Right now I'm thinking about this. But I'm missing school and everybody. And I can't wait to get back and see you all. And maybe we can hand out shortbread on campus.
Take care, everybody.